shadows in the hallway. Jamie Peterson woke with a start, sitting bolt upright in bed. The digital clock on his nightstand read 2:17 a.m., its red numbers casting a dim glow across his bedroom. Something had pulled him from sleep. A noise, perhaps, or just that strange sixth sense that sometimes alerts us to danger. He listened carefully, trying to separate the normal sounds of his house from anything unusual. His parents were away for the weekend at his grandmother's, leaving the 16-year-old home alone. They'd only agreed after months of Jamie demonstrating his responsibility. Perfect grades, always home by curfew, and diligently completing his chores without complaint. There it was again, a soft scraping sound from downstairs. Jamie's heart began to pound. It could be nothing, just the house settling, or the neighbor's cat that sometimes managed to slip through the pet door they'd forgotten to lock. But something felt wrong. He reached for his phone, debating whether to call 911. What if it was nothing? He'd feel foolish. But his father's words echoed in his mind. Better to feel foolish than to be in danger. Jamie slid out of bed, careful to avoid the squeaky floorboard near his door. He moved to his window and glanced outside, noticing an unfamiliar car parked across the street, its headlights off. That was unusual for their quiet suburban neighborhood at this hour. Another sound came from downstairs, more distinct this time. The unmistakable sound of breaking glass, followed by the shuffle of footsteps. Jamie's hands trembled as he dialed 911, keeping his voice to a whisper. 911. What's your emergency? The dispatcher's calm voice was reassuring. I think someone's breaking into my house, Jamie whispered, giving his address. I'm upstairs alone. My parents are out of town. Are you in a safe place? The dispatcher asked. I'm in my bedroom, Jamie replied. Stay there with the door locked. Officers are on their way, about 8 minutes out. Stay on the line with me. Jamie quietly locked his bedroom door and wedged his desk chair under the doorknob, a trick he'd seen in movies but never imagined using. He considered hiding in his closet, but realized he needed to think strategically. The footsteps were now clearly moving through the first floor. Jamie could hear drawers opening and closing, the intruder making little effort to be quiet. Whoever was down there must think the house is empty, Jamie thought. They're downstairs, Jamie whispered to the dispatcher. I can hear them moving around. Officers are on their way, the dispatcher assured him. Try to stay calm and quiet. Jamie's mind raced. 8 minutes felt like an eternity. What if the intruder came upstairs? His bedroom was the first at the top of the stairs. He remembered a conversation with his father after a break-in down the street last year. If you're ever in danger, Jamie, your priority is to get away safely. If you can't escape, find a secure place to hide. Fighting back is the absolute last resort. Only if your life is in danger. The footsteps suddenly stopped. Then came the creak of the first step on the staircase. Jamie's blood ran cold. The intruder was coming upstairs. They're coming up the stairs, he whispered urgently into the phone. What do I do? Is there a bathroom or closet you can hide in? The dispatcher asked. Yes, I have a bathroom connected to my room. Go there now, lock the door, and stay quiet. Officers are 5 minutes out. Jamie moved silently to his bathroom, locking the door behind him. He turned off the light and crouched in the bathtub behind the shower curtain, still clutching his phone. The footsteps continued up the stairs, slow and deliberate. Jamie could hear the intruder trying doorknobs, moving from room to room. His younger sister's room, empty, while she was at a sleepover. His parents' bedroom. Then, the inevitable. Footsteps approaching his door. The doorknob rattled. Jamie held his breath. The chair, wedged against the door, held firm. Then came a forceful thud against the door. Once. Twice. On the third impact, Jamie heard splintering wood as the chair gave way. Heavy footsteps entered his bedroom. Jamie could hear drawers being opened, then closed with increasing frustration. The bathroom doorknob jiggled. "Kid, I know you're in there," a gruff voice called out. "Open this door, and I won't hurt you. I just want the valuables." Jamie remained silent, his heart thundering in his chest. He glanced around for anything he could use to defend himself. The only thing within reach was his sister's metal softball trophy that he'd been meaning to return to her room. "Police are 3 minutes away," the dispatcher whispered through the phone. The bathroom door shook violently as the intruder slammed against it. Jamie gripped the trophy tightly, positioning himself behind the door. If the intruder broke through, he would have one chance. The door frame cracked on the third hit, and on the fourth, it gave way completely. The bathroom light flicked on, momentarily blinding Jamie. A tall figure in dark clothes and a ski mask stood in the doorway, knife in hand. The intruder spotted Jamie behind the shower curtain. "Come out, kid! Don't make this—" Before he could finish, Jamie flung the shower curtain at the intruder, momentarily tangling him in the plastic sheet. Using the distraction, Jamie darted past him into the bedroom, knocking over his desk lamp to create more chaos. The intruder, cursing, struggled free from the curtain and charged after Jamie, who now stood at the top of the stairs. "No place to run, kid," the intruder growled, advancing slowly. Jamie stood his ground, the trophy still gripped tightly in his hand. His mind flashed to the self-defense classes his mother had insisted he take after a bullying incident last year. The instructor's voice echoed in his memory. "If you absolutely must fight, aim for vulnerable areas, eyes, throat, groin. Use whatever advantage you have. Your goal isn't to win, but to create an opportunity to escape." As the intruder lunged forward, Jamie ducked low and to the side, using the man's momentum against him. The intruder, overbalanced, stumbled forward. Jamie brought the trophy down hard on the man's knee, causing him to howl in pain and drop to the floor. Not waiting to see more, Jamie sprinted down the stairs, heading for the front door. Behind him, he could hear the intruder struggling to his feet, cursing loudly. Jamie reached the front door, hands fumbling with the deadbolt. Just as he got it unlocked, a hand grabbed his shoulder, spinning him around. "You'll pay for that," the intruder snarled, raising his knife. In desperation, Jamie swung the trophy again, connecting solidly with the intruder's wrist. The knife clattered to the floor. Jamie kicked it away and then, using all his strength, shoved the man backward into the hallway table, sending a cascade of picture frames and decorative items crashing down. The distraction gave Jamie just enough time to yank open the front door and sprint into the yard. He could see flashing lights approaching in the distance. "Help!" he screamed, waving his arms frantically at the approaching police cars. "He's in the house!" 2 police cruisers screeched to a halt in front of the house. Officers emerged with weapons drawn, ordering Jamie to move behind their vehicles for safety. "He's inside," Jamie gasped, pointing toward the open front door. He has a knife. Within moments, more police cars arrived. Officers established a perimeter around the house, while others cautiously entered with their weapons drawn. After what seemed like an eternity, but was actually less than 5 minutes, officers emerged, escorting the now handcuffed intruder to a waiting patrol car. A female officer approached Jamie, wrapping a shock blanket around his shoulders. "You did good, kid," she said gently. "Real good. Most adults wouldn't have kept their cool like you did." Jamie nodded numbly, the reality of what had just happened beginning to sink in. "I was so scared," he admitted. "Being brave doesn't mean not being scared," the officer said. "It means doing what needs to be done despite being scared. You kept your head, called for help, and only fought when absolutely necessary." "That's exactly right." Later, seated in the back of an ambulance as a precaution, Jamie called his parents. Their panic was evident, even through the phone, and they immediately began the 3-hour drive back home. The police officer stayed with Jamie, making sure he wasn't alone. "We've been tracking this guy for weeks," she explained. "He's hit 6 houses in this area, but this is the first time he's encountered someone at home. Thanks to you, we caught him." In the days that followed, Jamie struggled with nightmares and jumpy nerves, normal responses to trauma. The counselor his parents took him to explained. But there was something else too. A quiet confidence that grew as the fear gradually subsided. A month later, Jamie stood beside his parents at the police station as the chief presented him with a civilian commendation for bravery. Jamie Peterson demonstrated exceptional presence of mind in a life-threatening situation, the chief announced to the gathered officers and reporters. His actions serve as a reminder that true bravery isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. As cameras flashed, Jamie thought about how different he felt from the boy who had awakened to strange noises just a month ago. He had discovered something about himself that night, a reservoir of courage he hadn't known existed. "I just did what I had to do," Jamie told a reporter, who asked how it felt to be called a hero. Later that night, as his father helped him hang the commendation on his bedroom wall, Jamie reflected on the experience. "You know what scares me the most now?" he asked his father. "What's that?" "Thinking about what might have happened if I hadn't woken up. If he'd just been able to go through our house, taking things while I slept through it all." His father squeezed his shoulder. "But you did wake up. You trusted your instincts, you kept your head, and you made good decisions under pressure. That's all any of us can do when facing the unexpected." Jamie nodded, studying the framed commendation. The certificate didn't mention the terror he'd felt, or how his hands had shaken for hours afterward, or the nightmares that still occasionally woke him. It didn't mention how he sometimes checked his bedroom door lock 3 or 4 times before going to sleep. The certificate celebrated bravery, but Jamie had learned that bravery wasn't some grand, fearless thing. It was being absolutely terrified and still doing what needed to be done. As he drifted off to sleep that night, Jamie realized something important. The intruder had taken nothing from their home, but had inadvertently left something behind. The knowledge that when pushed to his limits, Jamie Peterson could find the strength to face his fears and emerge, changed but unbroken, on the other side.